Al, how are we?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. What's news, pal? What's going on?
No news. I'm a bit nervous now. Some of my friends are like, oh, we sent in like 8 questions. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh no.
I literally about 10 minutes ago got about
Yeah, I know.
got about 15 questions through, pal.
I know.
What come first, chicken or egg?
Egg.
I don't fucking know. It's not one of the questions, don't worry. I normally start these with a beer, but I can see, Shock, you've got a coffee, although you do enjoy a beer. And I've got I've got a cold coffee today at 80/20, so I'm gonna crack open one of these, pals. What's going on in your world at the moment, mate?
Not much. Well, actually, saying that, I'm actually quite busy. So obviously we opened the yoga hub a couple of weeks. Well, we opened for 3 weeks and then we had to close.
Yeah.
So it wasn't great timing, but just trying to do a bit online, like got a couple of live sessions a week.
Yeah.
Just try to keep everything ticked over, training for sevens, but it's really actually quite nice to have a bit of chill time, guilt-free time off kind of thing, and just reevaluate like where the business is going and what direction we want to take it in and stuff. So yeah, still working.
Take me back to the beginning, pal. What came first? Was it the yoga or the rugby?
So I played netball. So with rugby, I played a couple of tournaments in school. So, you know, when you're like, who wants to play rounders? You're like, yes. Who wants to play rugby? Yes.
Yeah.
Like
time off lessons.
Yeah. So got into rugby in that way in school. But then in uni, you kind of pick a sport. So I picked netball.
Yeah.
And then I ruptured my Achilles playing netball. And that's how I kind of got into yoga. So yoga came first with regards to Yogability. Yeah. And then after recovering from the Achilles rupture, I jumped into rugby. I just never went back to netball, and I thought I'm going to give rugby a go because some of my friends played anyway.
Okay.
So the yoga came first, and then the rugby.
And how did you find yoga helped you when you were injured and coming back through?
So with my Achilles rupture, it came off the calf muscle, so they couldn't operate it back on. Yeah. So it's held together with scar tissue, and basically, you get just different advice. And some people are like, look, you'll never get the power or running back. You probably will never sprint. Yeah. Because you never know how it's going to grow back, and then. And they said, one thing you could do is yoga because you need flexibility, need range in your ankle. Because when I was in like the moon boot, you just don't move your ankle for like 9 months or whatever. Yeah. So it's kind of like learning to walk again. So that's basically why I jumped into yoga, just to see if I could get any flexibility back in my leg, and and now I'm like running, playing, all good. Sprinting for fun now. Yeah, it's hell. Well, no, yeah.
You must be faster than me, surely.
I don't know. Never mind. I feel like it'd be surprising.
I don't know about that. 60% body fat, probably. When did yoga start becoming a career for you, and not just a hobby and something that you did to get a bit better and fit again?
Like basically the reason I created my own method was because when I was going to these yoga classes, like I couldn't do anything else. So rather than having the option of going to the gym or going to yoga, I could only go to yoga. So yeah, I was at the start. It was really easy for me to go to these classes. There was there's so many different styles, but when I went, I had such a misconception of it, and I didn't really enjoy. There was like half the class I loved, which was like the really physical side, and the other half I was like, oh, this is not me really. Yeah. So I then thought, surely there must be more people that want just the physical side, a little bit of relaxation, but more of that physical side, and less than like all the classes I would go to was like an hour and a half, and I was like, people that train haven't really got that much time to do an hour and a half class as well. So then, but when I thought about the idea, I was working as a medical rep, and so I couldn't have done both. Like, it's such an intense industry. And I remember speaking to my parents, and I was like, I'm going to open a yoga company, and they were like, what? Like, so random.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think this is, like, I feel like it could be something that, and I really wanted a physical job, and I didn't really want, like, a medical rep wasn't really for me. And I just thought, this will be a really cool idea just to see if it works. And to be honest, when I say I went full-time straight away, I was earning like £30 a week or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like in a position where I was still living at home, so I could try it, and if it didn't work, and I could go back to the industry. But so I think I created it, say, in March, and then like one of my first contracts was with the WIU Sevens.
Yeah.
So from there, I was like, it shows that there's a massive market for it.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm just going to go full time, rather than, because then I could be available for whatever came up, I guess.
And what's for people who haven't seen your classes or been to your classes? I've been, and it's tough. I could be up there with your worst student, if you could call me a student. That's a very loose term. But what's Yogability, and how does it differ from what my perception when I came first time? I think I wore like a WRU nylon red top, and it was like burgundy all around my tits by the end, like sweating. I know. What's the difference between relaxing Zen yoga and then your Yogability?
So, like you, I think I had such a misconception of yoga. So there's so many different types, but with Yogability, so the aim is, so it's kind of for people that are already that are physically active. So this is how I designed it first. It was for people that are physically active, so go to the gym, or like athletes that need yoga that don't necessarily like it. So the people that, like, you can do a plank position or whatever, you can do those kind of moves, but you need to work on flexibility. So it's just mixing yoga moves, so like dynamic yoga moves, in with mobility work, which is trying to get strength through range. So if you think about, say, like a lunge position, and you go through lunge when you're sprinting, like that kind of stride position, for me, it's all well and good if I can hold like a lunge position. Yeah. But if I can't get any power in that position, it's almost pointless me having that range, because I need it to sprint, or I need it, or like if you talk about weightlifters when they squat, or CrossFitters when they do overhead squat or whatever, they need to be strong in that position. So that's where I tweaked it slightly, was rather than you're just working on flexibility, you want to work on the strength in that flexibility. Yeah. So that's basically the biggest difference. And some people say they don't like yoga, but if I say, it's Yogability, then they'll give it a go. Okay. So I'm like, come and try it.
Just a different mindset, like.
Yeah, and it is, and I think, and it is a different style. Yeah. But it's as well trying to get people to try something that they probably wouldn't try before.
Yeah. And how does it benefit? Obviously, I know you can't make claims as such that it reduces injuries, although science backs that up a little bit. I know you can't make claims like that, but how does it benefit both physically and mentally for you, and what you've seen? You're one of the happiest people I know. I don't think I've ever seen you not smile. How does it benefit you, just on top of that physicality as well?
So mentally, I think, so everyone talks about meditation, and like it's massive now with like mental health and things, and I think, again, people have got a misconception of meditation. So personally, and everything I do is because this is the way I do it, and if people want to jump in or join, or like, it's great. But so meditation is basically that you're able to zone out from everything else and focus on basically just you and how you're feeling or what you're doing at a time, and not having to think about a million things. Yeah. Whereas, and a lot of people think, lying down, you have to just, and it's really hard to do it that way, just to try and switch off. So my form of meditation is, and it can be in the gym or whatever, is, so when you're doing the class, a lot of the positions are really hard. So you're like, my right hamstring, this is solid, blah, blah, blah. But you're focusing on that thing at that time, and you're not actually thinking about anything else, or you're thinking, she's having a laugh here. How am I meant to do that? Like, so it's that kind of, you're focusing on what you're doing, and then we do relaxation and breathing exercises at the end. But by that time, you're so tired from the class, you're thinking, yes, this is lovely. Whereas before, if I said, all right, we're going to lie down for 5 minutes, everyone's like, it's just too boring. Yeah. Whereas you can kind of get into it a bit more, and it's not long enough for people to think I could be doing something else.
Yeah.
But so I think it's just being able to switch off from everything else, even if it's that just like focusing on what stress you're in at the moment or anything like that.
Perfect. And talk to me then about your what's the yoga community like? Is it all friendly, or you're all like, oh, she's got this many followers and her classes are this full, and are you all friends, or do you know each other, or what?
Well, I really weirdly, I'm really out of the yoga world in a way, because I think I still, not that I'm not massively into yoga. I am into yoga, but I still train all the time and all of that. So I think like my group hasn't really changed. It's more now open in the hub. I've met loads of different instructors that I've hired to work. Yeah. And they're all great. And I think it's really hard when you start teaching yoga. It's really hard not to be like, oh, is she better than me? Is she doing it in a different way? Or is he doing something I should be doing? How has he got so many followers? And it's really hard, but you've got to be like, right, this is what I want to teach. You've got to kind of be really confident in how you teach and the way you teach. And I think by having your own method, it helps that, because you haven't really got competition, because no one's really doing what you're doing. Yeah. Whereas, and it's easy then when you find like what you want to do and you've got your focus, it's quite easy then to be able to support everyone else and like help everyone else in their own kind of journeys as well. Yeah. But I've been really out to the yoga world, to be honest. But now having the hub, like I meet loads of different people, and they're all really nice. Well, I wouldn't hire them if they weren't nice, but they're all really nice. Class.
So we'll come on to the hub in a minute. Talk me through your, for people who don't know, talk me through your sort of rugby career, obviously with Swansea and Ospreys, and then obviously through Wales. Talk me through that and kind of how that came from going and starting rugby to becoming a full international.
Yeah. Well, I started playing for Swansea. So my dad, he's a secretary in Swansea, so we were looking for somewhere for the girls to play rugby, so they started a team for us in Swansea, which is great. So I started playing there, and really weirdly, not weirdly, one of our friends, Ellie, passed away in a car accident. Just really sudden, really random, like freak accident. And after that, so I think I must have been playing about a year, but after that, we had her memorial game. Yeah. And it's basically Swansea versus everyone else that Ali played with. Yeah. And everyone else that Ali played with is like Welsh international, Irish international. We were like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And to be honest, I think after that, it was, I think I got spotted in that game. And then I was brought into the Welsh squad from her memorial game. Yeah. It's weird how it works with women's rugby. So you don't play for either Ospreys or Swansea. You play both, because we only have like 4 games a year or something with Ospreys. Then we do that for the start of the season, and then you go to club for the remainder of the season. Yeah. But and then I got into the Welsh squad, and then I played a couple. I played my first game against the Armed Forces, and then against Scotland. These were like in the autumns, and then I started on the
Six Nations.
Yeah, the Six Nations. Then after.
Have you played the Principality Stadium?
Yeah, it was my first cap.
Yeah, that's right.
It was bizarre.
What was that like?
I think I was so new into rugby. I think that was a good thing, because I didn't really think about anything. I didn't really. It sounds really bad. I didn't even know all of the rules or anything, and I was just so new. But I was like, you couldn't ask any. Yeah, you just could, and I think I was so naive to it and so new to the game that they were like, "Oh, Al, you're on," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Right. I was like, "Oh my god, okay." So I like ran on, and it was just everything had happened so fast that it was really cool, and it was like first game in the Principality Stadium, and like a lot of my friends were in the squad, so it was really, really cool. You just feel like you're just like, you know, playing down the field or whatever. So it was cool. Yeah, it was good.
And have you ever been tempted? Obviously, you know, you've got to that level. Have you ever been tempted to go over to England? Because obviously they've got far more sort of pro teams and women's teams over there in the Tyrrell's 15. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, more so probably quite recently, because a lot of the girls have gone over, and we always like tried not to go, just to build the game in Wales. I mean, like I've moved to sevens now, so I'm not sure how and because of everything, like we should be in our season now, but because everything's up in the air a bit, I'm not sure how it works. But the girls that have moved, they think it's great, and you get to play at that level, because there is a massive jump from playing club to international. It's such a big jump that you almost don't get the quality of game time you need. So I think that's why. And it's nothing to do with, like, they'd still support Welsh rugby, and if we had the league here, they'd obviously stay. It's just that I think they get a higher level of competition when they go over the bridge.
They've got a load more teams, so you're just going to play a lot more often. Obviously, there's a lot more internationals in England, so that makes sense. Talk to me about sevens, pal. How was that different training wise for you, and what have you adapted? She laughs.
Well, my first couple of sessions, I was like ill after. It was so hard. I was like, it was just, you know. Whereas in 15s everything's quite tempoed, so you have to just get, like, so if you're doing shuttles or whatever, you just have to get there in a certain amount of time. Whereas like sevens is like, no, you sprint every time. you just go flat out every time. It's really good, to be honest. We've got new coaches, and they've been like a breath of fresh air. They're so good. Like first one of our first trainings, they were like, right, this is what you're good at, this is what you're not good at, you need to work on these. And it's just really nice, a really professional environment, and training's really hard. Like the lungs and the legs really feel it, but
I can
it's
imagine.
All good.
Have you had any tournaments yet?
No, so I've never been in sevens before. I've never actually played a game, so I'll let you know how it goes.
Professional sevens athlete.
Well, I played, you know what it's like. I played sevens, but not like actual sevens.
What tournaments what's the season look like for you for sevens?
So we don't actually know. It was our aim this year was to get basically to do the Europes. So that was like our main tournament. But we don't actually know whether they're going to maybe start it later so we can play during the autumns or what, or because I can't imagine them wanting to leave it an entire year, but I'm not sure how it'll work. So we'll just see when we get back, I guess.
Fingers crossed for you, obviously, with everything that's going on in the world. On that note, what are you doing in isolation training wise at the moment? Are you doing anything differently? Because I know obviously you're massive into your CrossFit strength and conditioning. Best triceps in South Wales. What are you doing?
I've always had triceps, even when I just didn't do anything.
if any of you ever meet Alecs, just have a look. They're the best triceps I've ever seen, mate.
Please, I'm not going to show them. I'm not doing it.
What are you doing training wise at the moment then?
So we're really lucky. So we live in a block of flats, and there's a gym downstairs, which is obviously with regard, like, we've got rules of how you use it or whatever, but it's still open, so we're still able to do like strength training there.
Perfect.
We've got programs from the WIU, so they send us over basically a program if you have access to a gym, and a program if you don't have access to a gym. So and then we do just aerobic conditioning, so that's like, I guess, speed endurance, and then speed training as well. So trying to do a bit, but I am doing, it's quite nice to have the time. Like, I'm probably training more now than I was before, because
it's in your own time.
And and I'm sleeping more, so I've got way more energy. And it's good. It's nice just to enjoy training, and like a couple of the girls are putting up challenges and stuff, so we try and do that. I mean, it started off like you're like this, and then you like plateau a bit, isn't it? And it's really hard to try and keep the motivation up. But so I'm actually really enjoying it.
How do you keep that motivation up, and even just your positive mindset as well, and that mental health? How do you keep that? Because again, like every time I see you, it looks like you're on top of the world. Yet I know that you've left the house at 5 to go to Swansea, and then 7 p.m. you're 7 a.m. you're in Bristol, and then you're back in cut. Like you're everywhere. How do you keep that level? Because I struggle with motivation at the moment. Like I'm trying to train a bit, but it's just not the same as going to the gym.
No, I know, and I think people say like, right, you just need to motivate yourself, or like, they always use that motivation word, but like I do think it's a lot to do with just like sometimes you gotta force yourself to do it. Like, and I think I'm good at like picking. So if we're talking about training, I think you gotta pick workouts that you feel like you could do. So yesterday or the day before, I was like, I can't really be bothered, but I know it's different. Depending on what your goal is, I think everyone should train, and I'm a massive advocate for it. Yeah. But like I have to train, because if I don't train, I'm not going to be at the level I need to be to play. Yeah. So yesterday I was like, when I was like I could have a day off or whatever, but I put the music on really loud. I just had two movements that I was doing, and I just did basically as many reps as I could in 15 minutes. Then it's not much thinking to do. And then after, I felt really good, and I actually trained last night as well, because I actually felt like training. Yeah. But I think if you only train on the days you feel like it, you do end up not training that much. Yeah, cool. But on the other hand, you've got to it's get that balance, because you've got to give yourself a break. And if you force yourself all the time, you're going to hate it. Yeah. It's just finding kind of different things that you can do to keep that motivation going, and like remember why you want to train. Or like I started going running at the start of lockdown, and I was going all the time because I was like, if they stop us from going outside, I'm going to be like, I wish I went out more, or I wish I did more running or whatever. With the like positive mindset, I think I am really lucky, and I feel really lucky all the time. Yeah. And I think as well, when you get your days where you start being like, okay, so I feel really tired today, I feel like this, you have to actually be like, nah, I can't be bothered to feel like this. I don't even want to think about things like that, because I can't be bothered. Like, it's just, and I think I really enjoy my job, I really enjoy my life, and my friends and my family. Like I am really lucky. Like I love all aspects of my life. And if it is like getting up at 5, then I think, right, tomorrow I'm gonna have a lie-in, or not have a lie-in, or like I'm gonna have a nap later, or things like that. And I do think everything's really short term. So if you feel like this now, you're not gonna feel like this forever. No. So you but it is a lot to do with like kind of trying to force yourself not to feel a certain way until it becomes quite natural to be like, and I do, like, I love complaining. Like so Jen, who works at UFit, so she starts at 5:30, and I get in at like 5:30 as well, and we have like 5 minutes of complaining. Or it's always like, how are you? Tired? Tired. And then we just like laugh a bit about it, so like we do this every single day, but it doesn't change. Like we'll always say, really tired. Yeah. But like you do it every day, and nothing really changes. You can either I do think it's like trying to remember, like everyone's like really lucky, and you've got stuff to be lucky about, like feel grateful for. So
I think it's that gratitude. You can obviously tell just from listening to you, that gratitude, you're thankful for that you're doing something that you love, and everyone that you've got around you. So I definitely think that's part of it. There's something oh, go on.
Sorry, a lot of people, like all my friends are really funny. Like I think it's really good to surround yourself. Like a lot of my friends are really funny, and like they just like everyone I surround myself with are fun people, like really funny people. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, they obviously get their days where they're not, but it's nice. You gotta, like, I think you just gotta not take life too seriously. Like it's just
love that. Talk to me. You've been in the press a bit recently, mate. Getting a bit of press coverage.
I think people are struggling to know what to talk about. And then they're like, we'll talk about Al.
Hey, no. Look, I read it when it came out. So I read it in the Daily Mail, was it, with about Bristol? But I knew you'd been doing it for a bit longer. So talk to us. Talk to us about that. You signed any autographs yet, or?
No. Well, no, it's weird though, because like when George was like, Al, do you want to do a Q&A? And I was like, who's doing it? And he was like, George North, Fox, Flex Lewis. I was like, why do you want me to do it? Like, it's just going to be embarrassing, really. But he was like, go on, you'll be fine. And I was like, oh. So it is weird because, I just feel like, I teach, I've created a yoga method and I teach yoga for a living, which is great. But Bristol have been like I started there. So basically the Rory Murray, who's like the head of medical there, he contacted me and was like, can I come to one of your classes in UFit? This is a couple of years ago now. So, which is what I liked anyway, because he was like, I just want to try it first. Yeah. Otherwise, kind of wasting each other's time. So he came to try the class, and then he said, that's exactly what I want implemented into the program in Bristol. And he was like, right, this is the injury rate we have at the moment. These are all these, and his injury is not through contact, so nothing to do with like actual rugby. It's like little niggles and stuff. So, and he said, we'll do it twice a week during pre-season, and then see how it goes. And he said, well, try it first, and because the boys need to, like, they have to like it, or they have to like you, because otherwise then you won't really do it, you won't buy into it. So when I started there, the players actually paid for me to go, so they had to pay for me to go rather than the club. And then I started there, and so Rory keeps track of all the injury rates, and basically I work pre-season. I work with the majority of the team, but during the season I work with the 15 starters or people that really need it. It's just gone from there, really. I just work with them once a week. They're really happy with the way their injury rates are kind of like not dropping, but anyone that have had niggles in the past that we can manage with mobility work, then they're doing really well. And I send them videos and stuff to do off season. But they've been really massive supporters of mine, and they're always like, oh, you're part of the team, like, thank you. And like Pat Lamb comes in and he's like, oh, thanks so much for doing this, like you're a massive part of the team. And even just little things like that, even though I'm like, I'm not really, but like just by being really nice about it, like you want to help them more almost, because they're such nice people. And it was like when I went in, they all say hi, they all come and shake my hand before, they all say like thank you for the session after. And they're like offering to like help me with my stuff and stuff, and they're so nice that I'm like, I've never really been in a team environment like it.
Just a nice culture.
That's their culture. And because when they walk in, they shake each other's hands or they high five, but they high five every single person in the room, not just one or two people. Like I couldn't tell you who are friends with who in the team, because they're all so like. But that's the culture that Pat, I think, wanted to implement. Yeah,
I've heard good things. I don't know him, but I've heard good things about him and what he brings to a team environment. Talk to me about the Yoga Hub then, pal. A few questions you've had about the Yoga Hub. So what's it like owning the Yoga Hub, and what's it like running your own business? Talk to me about that and how that came about and what it is and how people can come along.
So basically the Yoga Hub, we so a lot of my clientele are people that already have gym memberships or already train or like have like memberships in some way, some shape or form. So I've always done, if I was like, I'll go to a yoga class, it's like the going rate in Cardiff is like £12-14 a class.
Is it?
So they're not really gonna, that's another £40 a month on top. So it's really, so I was like, and another thing is like when you do drop-ins all the time, you'll go once, but then if you don't really fancy going, you won't really want to pay that another £12 to go if you can't really be bothered. So then I was like, and everyone is like, still to this day is like, I don't really like yoga, and I'm like, oh, what yoga have you tried? And they're like, oh, just yoga. And I'm like, no, there's like a million different versions. So it was another thing. So I was like, oh, it would be cool to have, I was like, oh, there should be a place where you could just like pay monthly or pay like quite a cheap class pass to go. And try all different types of yoga and Pilates and all of that. And then I was like, why don't I just try and open up? So I I played around with the idea of opening a hot pod.
Okay. Yeah.
To start, because I was like, and then someone said to me, "Oh, why are you going to open a hot pod?" And I said, "I really like that. It's like warm and purpley."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, cool. You're going to invest like 20 grand for a warm purpley room." I was like, "Yeah." And they said, "What don't you like about it?" I said, "I don't really like the you're limited to one style."
Yeah.
Of yoga, and that's not really how I like to teach. So then I was like, oh, actually, and then I was talking to Jordan about it, and he was like, well, like I'll happily come into business with you. Like he was like, I back you 100% of whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's really nice. So I really wanted to have someone like him that is just really like supportive and just, he gets the job done kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I was looking for different places, and then we just had a conversation one day, and he was like, well, why don't you just open upstairs? Because there was a massive room upstairs anyway, and because I really wanted a place where there was a coffee shop and things, so after your class you could go down, can have a coffee, and it's open like 5:30 till 11 p.m, so if anyone needed any help or anything, we're open. And I'm there anyway, and if you so I was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. So this is like December, I think end of December, and I was like, right, I'm gonna open at like the first weekend of March. And so we just like redid the room. I had an idea in my head of what I wanted, and I was like, right, I'm gonna paint it black. And when the first coat comes on, I'm like, oh my god, and and everyone was like, black? Are you having what? Are you insane? And I was like, yeah. And then when you're so okay, I can't back down now. I've like argued against so many people, and then so I was like painted it black. Well, I wasn't. The painters were painted it black, and then there was no lights in the room, so I was like. So we'd go in, and I was like, oh, this is the room. And everyone was like, you can't, it was so, if you look at it now, it's amazing. Like, they put really nice lighting in, and it's exactly what I wanted. So I wanted a dark, it's boiling room now. Yeah. Just for people to switch off. And you do, because a lot of people that came to the open weekend and stuff, they came in and they were like, from the outside is an industrial estate, and they weren't expecting much, and then they go in and they say you totally forget where you are, which is great. And then so we decided to offer, it was like 34 classes a week, and there's like 15 different styles of class, like from yoga to Pilates and like basically everything in between. So you can pay a monthly fee to get unlimited, which when I was like pitching it to Jordan, and I was like, so this is unlimited, and I was like, it works out like 34p a class, and he was like, what? I was like, yeah. So I was like, but bear with me, I think it'll work, because on the business side it doesn't look like it just seems so and then or you can pay like £6 a class, so we were like more than half what the going rate in Cardiff is. Perfect. And with the hope that people will just go more. So
that makes sense. That makes sense though, because obviously people have different work schedules, and they might want to do one class, can't do it, so they'll do the next class instead. They don't have to commit to it, but £6 nowadays. That's what, a couple of coffees a week.
Exactly.
Think about how many people buy a coffee every morning from whichever retailer they go to or whatever. It's your lunch or whatever. So it's it's probably pint and a half now with the price in Cardiff, but that is a lot cheaper than your 12 and 14 quid. So and that's what, and everyone's like, oh, it's too cheap, but like you should, and I was like, this isn't the reason. We're not doing it to be honest, it was really weird singing I opened a business not to make money, and it's not, it's just to try and get more people into it. Even we only opened for 3 weeks before we had to close, and it did really well. Like, it was really busy. We had really good feedback, so excited to reopen now when we go back. Mate, it's brilliant. So how many different, 34 classes, how much is the membership for that when that's back open?
It's £50 a month. That's perfect. So 34 classes a week. And just loads of different styles. We've got like 10 different instructors. So because I always think the yoga's like dependent on the instructor as well.
Yeah.
So we want to just give loads of different options.
Yeah. And so whilst that's closed at the moment, then how can people access whether it's your classes or the different instructors from the Yoga Hub? I know you're doing bits on Instagram, but you've got YouTube as well and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I've got a YouTube channel called Yogability, and some of the girls from the hub have actually put their videos on that channel as well. And then, we've done, so I do 4 live sessions a week on my personal Instagram, and the girls, there's like 3 a week on the Yoga Hub Instagram, but majority of it is either on YouTube or Instagram, and they do them on their like personal pages as well.
Yeah.
So they're available on Instagram. I think they're available for 24 hours after.
Yeah.
So that they, you can do it because I do it at 8 a.m. and I was like, no, I'm not getting up at 7. So,
Are people still messaging you to do one-to-one classes just via Zoom or whatever? Because I see a few one-to-ones. So I do a few of them over Zoom at the moment, which is good. But I think because there's 4 classes a week on, I'm trying to get them to do those as well. Yeah. Because then they don't have to pay for that. Yeah. So especially if they're not working or whatever. So I try and direct them towards that or to do the videos on YouTube. But the clients I've got that are still working, then I still see them over Zoom. Perfect. Lovely. Love your attitude, mate. I'm going to fire into some questions, okay? And then we're going to announce the winner of the that UFit competition that they put up a couple of weeks ago, okay?
Yeah.
So,
am I the winner?
You'll have to wait and see, mate. Who knows? Who knows? All I know is...
I'm going to be so annoyed at Jordan.
I'm not. All I know is I'm not. So Jordan... right. So what did it feel like to... so Kate Edwards asks, how does it feel to play for Wales? Every time you put on the jersey, what's the feeling?
Yeah, it's amazing. I think I personally have to kind of calm down a bit when I'm in it, as in you can almost overthink it. Yeah. So you, especially because you're about to play. So I almost appreciate it more after I've played, because you've got to get the game. You can't really be like, oh, this is amazing, and like. So you're obviously really proud to wear the jersey, but I have to kind of switch off from what I'm actually doing and just focus on, right, I need to play rugby. And then afterwards you can kind of enjoy it a bit more and chill out a bit more. But it's really cool.
Class.
Cool.
So Carew Cymru, actually, to be fair, Carew Cymru, they're making t-shirts for the NHS. T-shirts for us.
Cool.
T-shirts that we can buy, but all profits are going to the NHS. So give them a little look on Instagram or Twitter. How are you finding it with... I know you've mentioned this. How are you finding it with training during the lockdown? You said you're probably training a bit more.
Yeah, I'm actually training a lot more. So, because I used to sleep like 6 hours a night maybe. So when I'd work and train, I just kind of used to tick a box sometimes when I was really tired. So now it's really nice to actually feel refreshed and still training. So I try and do about 3 strength sessions a week. Yeah. 3 conditioning sessions, and then maybe 1 speed or something. So it's going well.
Plus, obviously, you're teaching your 4 yoga classes a week as well. So
yeah. But weirdly, because I do it so often, my watch tells me to move during my yoga classes. So
your heart rate's so low. Mine tells me to get a ventilator. I'm about to have a cardiac arrest. Absolutely.
Stop what you're doing. You need help.
Find help now. Meg _Lewis 89. Where's the best place in and around Cardiff to start women's rugby? It's been 10 years since you played.
Cardiff, I would probably go to Llandaff North. I know they've got a massive, a really good community there. So I would try and contact them and go, because I know a couple of the girls. I don't think they play anymore, but they started going just to try out the training. So most of the women's club, you can kind of jump into training and see how you get on. Yeah. And then go from there. So I would probably recommend Llandaff North if you're living in Cardiff.
Lovely stuff. So Lisa New 93.
Yeah, what did she say?
Oh, you got about 12 questions here coming up, pal. She's on. I've seen she's on the call now. So, if you could only drink 1 drink for the rest of your life, Coffee or beer?
Yeah. I'd have to go coffee. I'd have to go coffee, but I'm partial to a Bud Light. And when I say partial, I love Bud Light.
Do you?
Yeah,
Life's about balance, pal.
Yeah, but I'd have to go with coffee. I have about 7 a day sometimes. So.
7 or more?
Yeah. 7 on a good day.
There we are. She said, you're on death row. What's your meal, your 3-course meal that you have before the chop?
So I know this sounds really weird, but one of my favourite meals is chips, cheese, beans and mayo.
What, Chippy Alley?
Yeah, so chips, cheese, big beans and then loads of mayo on top. And everyone says, oh, it sounds horrible. And honestly, try it. It's one of the best meals. But I think if I were to have a 3-course, I would go like pizza to start. Then
Pizza to start?
Yeah, pizza to start. And then I would have
pizza?
like a spag ball or something.
What?
Oh, ham and mushroom.
Yeah.
Then I would maybe either have a burger or like a spag ball or something.
Nice. Okay.
And then dessert. Oh, I'd probably go with those like either a carrot cake or like, you know, the cookie doughs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
I love the fact you've gone for 2 mains as a starter and a main, like my type of girl.
Pizza's not a main, it's definitely a starter.
Is it?
It's like basically bread. Yeah. I
love that. So one of the questions was what inspired you to start Yogability in the Yoga Hub. Obviously you've spoken about that. Obviously
my
injury and coming through that yourself. How long did it take for you to learn to handstand and then walking handstand?
Yeah, everyone asks this, and it depends on you as the person, like how long you take, like how much you practice and stuff. And it's annoyingly just all to do with practice. So I think because everyone's like, oh, when will I get better? And I'm like, probably a year.
Yeah.
Like, and people hate that answer, but I'm like, it takes ages to learn. But the more you do, it's just being able to get used to like body awareness on your hands and just getting used to even like strength through the arms. So I would do like a lot of upper body strength work if you're trying to learn to do handstands, upper body strength work as well.
Yeah.
Just so you've got that base to be able to learn how to handstand walk eventually.
Perfect. I don't know if my arms are like linguine, mate, so I don't know if I could do it. Last question from Lisa. How quickly would you lose mobility if you stopped doing yoga sort of weekly or whatever?
What, me?
The average person, because you're not the average person when it comes to this.
Yeah. Like, again, it really depends. I know this is such a generic answer, but it depends on the person, because I feel like I could probably not do it for a year and still be all right.
Yeah.
Whereas, because I've got like loads of them in the bank, you know?
Yeah, muscle memory.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on the person. It does, you feel like it goes really quick. So I can go on a holiday for 2 weeks and not stretch, and then come back and think, oh, I feel a bit tight. But and it depends what you do. So if you're going to carry on training and not do mobility work, you're going to feel like that you're getting stiffer and stiffer.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, that's not an answer, but sorry.
It sounded nice.
I don't know.
So last set of questions there from Karis Phillips. I know she's on the call as well.
Yeah.
So how many times a day could you eat breakfast as a meal?
All times of the day.
Every meal. What's your perfect breakfast, mate?
It changes, but at the moment, like scrambled egg, toasted bagel.
Lovely. Simple but effective.
Just simple, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to love avocado, but you know when you overdo something?
Yeah.
I think I'm at that point.
A good quality sausage is in there for me as well.
Oh, really? I'm not a massive fan. I like a bacon sandwich now and again, but yeah.
Scrambled eggs, mate. Can't go wrong.
Oh, actually, a Greg's sausage sandwich.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Lovely.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Love that. Karis has just piped up there saying Valencia breakfast.
Oh, yeah. We went to Valencia last year, and we went to this breakfast first place, and like basically every hour of the day we just kept going back. It was so nice. I was like, oh, it was so nice.
Mate, that's what holidays are for, mate.
Carrot cake to start. Yeah, it was amazing.
Love that. Where are we now? So, out of all your friends, who's the worst at yoga and Yogability?
I've got.
I'll put myself as being up there.
It's more. It's hard. It's so hard to keep professional when your mates come to the class, because you're like, they're just so distracting, and a lot of them. Like, if you come to my classes, I'm all for, like, it's not very zen with the way of, like, you know, I kind of need a swear jar at the back of the room sometimes. Yeah. Just, you know, like, but yeah, they're really distracting. It was the first class of the open weekend, and two of my friends from rugby came, and they came to the front, and I was like, you are not coming in the front of my class. No. On the first class of the hub. So, like, I moved them to the back, and then I realised the class was, like, full, and I was like, oh, like, I don't talk like this to everyone. Like, it was so rude the way I was like, get up, you go to the back. And I was like, oh, sorry. But yeah, they're just very distracting in the way of, like, if I was saying, oh, you need to, all right, we're going to hold this position for 30 seconds. They're like, are you having a laugh? And I'm like,
Shut
no,
up.
But yeah, I'm not going to name names.
Jordan's piped up there saying Mikey Partridge is terrible.
Yeah, he's got such mobile hips, but they always have this competition who's better, yoga Jordan or Mikey, and it's hands down Jordan.
I remember one of my memories, one of the first classes, I think you were like, put your knee down, then put your ankle so your ankle touches the floor, and I just looked at you and just went, it ain't happening, pal. Like, I physically can't do it. Yeah,
sometimes as well, like, you get so in yoga it's really hard to tell, like, you're right and your left, weirdly, even though it's really easy in normal day, but you're in a downward dog, and I'm like, right, move your right foot forward, and everyone's like, I don't know what my right foot is, where is my right foot, I don't know where that, and like a lot of people in the class just like, they're like, no, I'm not doing that. And if I say, oh, if you want to try this, you can, and they're like, well, you're just showing off now, and I'm like, it's almost like I'm like, oh, sorry.
It's like a game of Twister by the end.
Yeah, I know.
What was the other Karis questions? So how many coffees do you drink a day? So you said 7. I reckon it might be a bit more on times.
Yeah, I have about 2 before my first class. And that's at 6:30. And then it's just because my days are so long, so then we start rugby training, say at like 4:30, or we go to the gym, so then I don't leave till like 9:30, sometimes 10. So it's just really long days, so I don't really, everyone's like, oh, you drink too much coffee, and I'm like, I don't care.
Keeps me alive, like, inject it in my veins. One of the questions Karis had, we've already covered, so it was about how yoga's helped with rugby and the injuries, so hopefully more clubs see what the industry's doing for them, and they can adopt that approach as well, because it's obviously working for Bristol and Wales Sevens, and obviously yourself coming back, so fingers crossed for that. And the last question, what's it like running your own business? How's that different pressure now you've actually got the yoga hub compared to when you were kind of doing one-to-one classes and classes here, there and everywhere?
Yeah, it's different, I think, because like I never thought, like I'm pretty laid back, and I never thought before all I had to depend on was myself, in the way of like I do the classes and I have to go to certain places, so it's pretty easy, like you just it's all down to me, whereas sometimes running your own business you have to depend on other people. So I'm really lucky at the moment with the instructors that they're really good, they're really passionate as well, so but it's a different stress with regards to, like, you can't switch off, and at the end of the day it comes down to you. There's no one really that can. What people kept asking me questions like, oh, what do you want to do about this? What do you want to do about this? And I was like, why is no one like more adult than me that I can like help me here? So it was like, so it's different in the way of like, it's a learning curve. It's good, like I'm really enjoying it, but it did take over my life a bit. I was the first time I was like, oh, I feel really weird at the moment, like all of this, and like Dan Forbes in the gym, I was like, he said, I think this is the first time you've been stressed in your life. Like, I feel like this is stress.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. It was like I was still excited to do it and everything. It was just that it was busy and there was no switch off because it was all down to me, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Now you got good people around you. Obviously, Jordan with the gym is evolved.
Yeah.
So you got good people around you there.
Whenever there's like hard conversations I need to have, I'm like I sign it from Jordan and Alex. Like, Jordan goes first.
Yeah.
But he's happy with that. He said that I can do that, so it's
perfect.
fine.
What does the future hold for you, pal?
Still, like, let's just take each day as it comes, I guess. Just same with the yoga. I'm really excited to reopen it now. We're going to do another launch day, so we're going to do another open day where it's just like free classes, free like cake and coffee, just to get people in. Yogability is going really well. I think I'm going to maybe eventually do like teacher training courses, so I can train other people to teach it, because I'm kind of at my limit to what I can do myself. And then with the rugby, I'm loving the sevens at the moment. Great environment. So see what happens that in the next year or so. But yeah, all good. Just like, to be honest, just keep doing whatever I'm doing now.
Perfect, mate. Hey, look, I wish you nothing but the best, pal. I know how hard you work. So, all right, mate, I'm doing nothing. Don't worry about me. It's all good.
The podcasts are going well, though.
They're doing a bit little Catflap chats on Insta and Twitter. If anyone fancies it, get it on Apple and Spotify.
You've had really good people on there as well.
So I'll turn this into a podcast and put it out in about 4 weeks' time, pal.
Okay.
So I'm recording.
There'll be like really, really cool people, and then
I'm recording them now. See, hello.
Okay, that's cool.
Mate, I'm not stupid. Last but not least, we're going to announce the mental prize that UFit put together. So Jordan and Jackson, it was a squat rack, bench, barbell, bumper plates, a year's subscription, obviously, to UFit, a year with MJ Fitness. So you can follow his workouts and he can obviously mentor you. Kettlebells, hex dumbbells, plyo box, ski erg, Rogue Echo bike, Kratos put a supplement bundle in there, and the thing I'd be most excited about is the Athlete Kitchen week's worth of meals, because they are banging. So we did a random draw, and I can announce, don't know if you heard that, Abby Popple, Abby.Popple, Abby.Pople, Pople.
I love the guesses.
Yeah, I haven't got a clue, mate, but she has won. So, Abby, if you want to get in touch with Jordan and UFit, I'm sure they'll drop you a DM as well and slide in. You have won all of that for the duration of lockdown.
Awesome.
I think they're going to bring it to you, set it all up. I think they'll pick it up after the lockdown as well. So, you got no excuse. I don't know, Abby, but you got no excuse not to get in mental nick now, all right? So, well done to you. Sorry to everyone else. And Al, I really appreciate you coming on, mate. Hopefully get to see you soon. And
see you in class, isn't it?
Yeah, well, do you know what, actually? My missus did a couple of the classes this week, and I've written down, before this, I wrote down 8 a.m, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm going to try and do at least 2 this week, all right?
Okay.
That's my
video evidence.
Yeah, that's my commitment to you. You'll see me pop up, and I might like widescreen film it for you for a laugh if you want some outtakes, all right?
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Nothing but the best, pal, and hopefully get to see you soon, all right?
Yeah.